I was on mute. Great start. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the United Way for United Way news show. Joining me today is the main man, the man who is officially a footballer. Let's hope he can go. What's the word I'm looking for? Professional, future United player. Rahul, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. The international breaks caught up on all of us now. It's a
Yeah,
bad time, but let's get through it. How are you?
I'm doing well. I mean, you kind of said it all there from me about the international break. It feels like a very long international break because the last time, geez, it was about 2 weeks ago now. Was the last time United played in the Premier League, and the next time we play in the Premier League is next month. And as much as we're doing well in the Premier League, it's not a great game to really start, the season back off up and running again. When you face Man City, I mean, I'm hoping Manchester United honestly give it their all that game against Man City. But I mean, all I can do is wish. Rahul, are India? Are they playing any time this week, or do you know? Think we're on you. No, let's just do this. You can't be technical difficulties. Okay, maybe we'll have to do this and then pop them back in. Yeah, Rahul, if you can hear me, just leave and then hop on back in, and we'll get the show up and running. So, right, are we back? There we go. Now we're good. Yeah, I didn't know what happened.
Yeah, not sure what happened there. I think.
It's Rahul. It's YouTube, isn't it? it's always gonna do it to us. Nobody else but us. But I mentioned it to you there. You're from India, yeah? Yeah. Can you hear me well? Don't know what's going on here. Right. Can you hear me? Yeah. Right, hold on. I'm gonna have to do this because I don't know what's up with YouTube today. Every time I mention about the international break, YouTube decides to be mean to us. But hold on, I'll add them back in now. Let's just do that and do this. Right. So. Yeah. So, Rahul, if you're still. Wait, hold on. Maybe if you just leave and maybe hop back in. If that makes life easy. Yeah, go. Yeah, so I'm guessing if maybe it's best if Rahul leaves and then hops back in. If you can do that, Rahul. Because you're frozen on my screen, so I'm not sure what the hell's going on with YouTube today. Um, yeah, yeah. So all Rahul is gone. Well, when he returns. Um, so we're going to talk about a bit about the international break before we jump into the show. Um, so yeah, international break. I do want to talk about Jaden Sancho not getting into this English international team. Um, like, I mean, he actually is in the. He's actually in the what's it, the Player of the Month nominees. Oh, here we go. Here's Rahul back in. Right, we're all back.
Hey man, am I audible now?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm just not going to say I'm bad about YouTube because every time we do, someone acts up. I don't know what it is. But before we do get
Yeah.
into this new show, Rahul, I really want to talk about Jaden Sancho. Now, I'm not from
Yeah.
England. You're not from England. I don't really care who England pick, but I'm surprised Southgate hasn't picked Jaden Sancho to travel to the Nations League because with the Euros, like, I mean, what do you think? Do you reckon the team Gareth Southgate picked is good, or do you reckon he should have picked the likes of Sancho and
I
like
think the
that?
I think the team that Gareth Southgate has picked, I think it's good for his kind of philosophy for his football, for his system of he uses many defenders,
Yeah,
and he likes forwards who have that explosive pace, right? That's what he likes to play, and he likes to play that counter attacking football. I think so. I don't think Jaden Sancho actually fits that system. I think like with Southgate, he is a guy who a lot of people say as a specialist when it comes to international tournaments or knockout football, basically. So I think with Southgate, you can't criticize him right now. I think he's in a good run of form. He's got to the semi-finals of the World Cup and now the Euro finals. So let's see what happens this World Cup. But I think this World Cup, I think it's going to be a make or break. Um, Depending on how he does, I think a minimum of a semi-final or a final, I think is probably expected of England. But then you can't. You have to back him now. If he drops Jadon Sancho, if he drops Harry Kane, it doesn't matter. You have to back him because he knows what he's doing,
yeah.
and we have to trust him. And so that's my stand
Basically,
on that.
like us with Ten Hag, isn't it? Like if he drops
Yeah,
Bruno Fernandes for a game, you have to like, well, he knows what he's doing. We don't. We can only talk about it.
yeah.
Um, I mean, I I wouldn't say Sancho is incredible so far this season. I wouldn't say that, but he is getting to some sort of decent level under Ten Hag. Now I just hope it's not a purple patch for him because he kind of had a slight purple patch last season when we had he didn't play that much under Solskjaer, but Ralph Rangnick, for example, he didn't kind of get that kind of that game time as he maybe would have likened to. But with Ten Hag, I think he's been good. All right, I know a lot of people might say, "Oh, just because you scored against Liverpool and that, you want them to be picked." It's like I don't care who England pick. I'm just basically putting my opinion on it. If I was an England fan, people understand where I'm coming from. But I just don't know. I mean, his next game is going to be City. Like, I mean, will it be? Will he have fatigue? Maybe will it be a bit of rust in the legs, or do you reckon he'll work hard now and training now while the Premier League is back?
I think the City game couldn't be a better time. I think it's perfect timing. We're in a good run of form right now. We've beaten Liverpool, we've beaten Arsenal, we've beaten Leicester, who are basically a very tough opponent. We have 4 wins on the bounce, and I think the City game, I think we should go up. We should go up with our heads held high. We should go with confidence and not in sort of disbelief or get scared of the opponent. I think that's something that United shouldn't do anyways. But I think right now, I think it's perfect timing. We should just go play the game like a one-off match and get over with it, and then just concentrate on the lesser fixtures that are there. So with the City game, I don't think that anyone can criticize timing. I think that's just like finding reasons that aren't really like suitable or viable reasons. You're just making up excuses. I think it's a good timing right now. I think if we were in a bad form, then you could say probably yeah, it's coming at a bad time. But right now we're in a good run of form. I still believe that City would probably beat us, but I think when we faced Liverpool, when we faced Arsenal, those were the same predictions that we as fans would probably have made. So let's just hope that Ten Hag can prove us wrong, and this team can prove us wrong and defeat City.
Yeah, I mean, you've kind of said it there. They proved us wrong against Liverpool. Against Arsenal, there wasn't that many doubts. I mean, I think I predicted I said 2-1 United, but I thought it would have been a draw. Still, Manchester United hit the ground running and beat the Gunners 3-1. So they know how to prove us wrong as fans. And listen, I hope they prove me wrong. When I say it's going to lose or draw, Manchester United go out there. Say, for example, the City preview now in in a week or so, week or two, I'm not sure. Me and you on the preview, you could say a draw. I could say a loss, but we'd also say after that, I hope United prove me wrong. Like I think a lot. I mean, thing is about this game. The one thing I hate about this game being after straight after international break is you won't know what to expect. We will still get the incredible City, like especially Haaland. Just honestly, what a player he is. I hate to say it. It's hard to deny it, isn't it? Like he's hit this Premier League by storm, and City got an absolute quality player on their hands. But you look at United's side, there's more passion there with United. I like the passion, the aggressiveness, the desire. I just like it. I just like it. And in the game against City, that's going to be some game. That's going to be that's going to be a game that'll get the nerves up and running definitely. But I mean, let's hope we can get the big 3 points away at the Etihad. It'd be the best thing ever. It really, really would. But I mean, I suppose we move on into transfers. There's not many transfers going around. I mean, even these shows, not many interest in them because God knows what could happen. But a lot of noise about Bellingham, a lot of noise about Van de Beek, a lot of noise about right back, a lot of noise about Cody Gakpo. It's kind of like Ten Hag is interested in getting some of his business done nice and early, and let's hope it can be a good transfer window in January. I mean, how many weeks? We're a month away. We're a month since the summer transfer window. No, sorry, it's more than a month, isn't it? Something like that. A month. It's been a good while anyway since you've had the summer transfer window. But obviously, Fabrizio Romano was talking the other day about Cody Gakpo. And he said Manchester United have had talks with Cody Gakpo's agents and had a variable agreement with them, with the player ready to say yes to Man United. However, at the time, their focus was only on Anthony and no bid was made. Fabrizio said, I would keep a potential deal for Cody Gakpo open because Man United and Gakpo had different approaches this summer. Now, Rahul, I think you've said it in the past. You've said it in the past that you'd like United to get Cody Gakpo. And if you have said that, maybe if your opinion has changed since then, I agree with you. I think a good left winger like Cody Gakpo would be good. He'd add squad depth because, listen, we saw Sancho to play on the right wing. He's more on the left. Do you reckon we have enough wingers, or do you reckon Gakpo should be a no-brainer? Go for him.
No, actually, for me, I don't. Personally, I don't really like Cody Gakpo. I think I've actually said the opposite in the past. I There's a lot of similarities between Cody Gakpo and Marcus Rashford. They play the similar style of football. They play explosive sort of runs. They make not too technical. I don't know if that would fit Ten Hag's system, but obviously Ten Hag wants him, and we were basically just one step away from getting Cody Gakpo this summer. But I think with Cody Gakpo, I personally wouldn't go for him. I would personally want someone a little more technical, a little more, creative, and not just rely on pace. I'm not saying that Cody Gakpo relies on pace completely, but for me, I just don't prefer that kind of player, especially when we already have Marcus Rashford in the team. If Ten Hag does go for him, I'll back him. I think he can do well at United. But personally, I wouldn't go for him. I think there are definitely better options there.
Yeah, I just think we have. Do you reckon we have enough left wingers now? I think we have enough. Sancho, he plays more on the left, and Rashford. If we are going to sign, say, another left winger, you'd expect them to be like when we signed Daniel James, you'd expect it to be something like that, but a bit cheaper, just to add squad depth in that. We also have Garnacho as well, who we can't forget. I know he's 17, 18, but he is there as well. He's been on the bench these past few games now, not just in the Europa League, but in the Premier League. He's barely came on, I think, but he has been on the bench, so Ten Hag must be a big fan of him. And let's hope Garnacho can be a quality player in the future when he does get that regular game time more. Do you reckon maybe we should look on the right wing? We're interested in signing Ziyech in the summer. We're interested in also Pulisic. Again, he's more of a left winger, so we're let's just say we're interested in signing a lot of wingers in the summer, and we got one who I'm actually he looks promising, Anthony. Yeah, I know it's still early days for Anthony, but so far he's been impressive, and Ten Hag has said he can be better than what he is now. So how good can this man get? Um, do you reckon we should move away from wingers and go to look at the main positions like midfielders, strikers, fullbacks, centre backs? What position? If you were Ten Hag and you were the manager, and you were sitting down with your Van der Geigs, your McLarens, Arnold's, them clowns that own our club, who I don't want to talk about because they piss us all off when we do talk about them. What positions would you look at in January or in the summer? But let's talk about January, because not many big signings happen in January. So if you were Ten Hag and you were looking at January, what positions would you improve?
I would personally, I think I have said this before. We don't have a squad depth. We don't. I think on paper, when you see people like Fred make the bench, you might think, okay, it's good. There's good squad depth, but in reality, there's no squad depth. Those players just on paper, it may look that way, but I just don't think we have any squad depth at all in any, in majority of the positions. So we just about have a first team that can play good football, but that's about it. One or two injuries in any position, and we have basically no squad depth anywhere. So for me, I think personally, I would go with the centre back. I would definitely want another centre back. I was very disappointed that Eric Ten Hag couldn't keep Eric Bailey at the club. If Eric Bailey was here right now, I would have been much more, calm. I would have been a little more relaxed because if something were to happen to Varane or Lisandro Martinez, at least we know that there's someone there who could come in. But right now, if something was to happen to them, then we have to go with Maguire or Lindelof. So I think if you want to have a good team, if you want to build a good team, you have to start from the back. So the foundation has to be good. If you don't have a good defense, um, the midfielder is going to suffer. The midfield is going to suffer, and the attack will also suffer because of the bad defense. So I would go with a good centre back, and we have to sort the right back position out as well. So I'd go with that, the centre back, the right back, and then I would move on to the midfielders and the attackers.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, our squad depth. I mean, it's no squad depth that City have. I mean, you look at City. I hate comparing any team with City because there's just there's no winning with City squad depth. They have Julian Alvarez, who they got in the summer. They have Phil Foden, who they can bring on. They can have their squad depth isn't as good as it used to, but it's still squad depth. You know what I mean? Goalkeeper Zach Steffen. I'm pretty sure he's still there. Then you have Laporte, who would mostly come off the bench, and you have Nathan Ake, and then you have Akanji, and then you look at fullbacks Walker and Cancelo. I think they're their main kind of. I'm not sure whether they're their main, but they're probably their only fullbacks at the club. They have decent squad. That then you look at United's bench. So if you look at the game against what was the last one, Arsenal, you had Ronaldo coming in off the bench. You had Alanga, you had Fred, you had Casemiro. Uh, who else did you have? You had. I don't think Van de Beek was. I think he was out at the time. I'm not too sure, but it's still you will add him into the squad depth, anyways. And then you have Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, Harry Maguire, who that's not squad depth. That's just a piece of shit, if you ask me. And then you look at like, and then you have say Rashford, Sancho, and Garnacho. Sorry, not Rashford, Sancho. And then you have Dubravka. It's good squad depth, but it could be better, isn't it? Like if you're 2-1 down in a big game against Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, any team, you want to look at your bench and you want to say, if I bring him on, he's going to change the game. We need game changers to come off the bench. Because City have game changers, Liverpool have game changers. Do you reckon that's something could look into? I do. I think like it's good squad depth, but with the games coming in quick and fast now, someone's going to pick up an injury. Someone's not going to be fully fit. You want to say we're safe if he isn't fit or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, right? Like you summed it up there. I think the thing is that when you classify a team with a good squad, you look at the first team first, and they're obviously going to be good. But then when you look at the bench, you don't get much of a drop off. Like the first team are good, but then if you substitute any of the first team players with one of the substitutes, you get a drop off, but it isn't that significant. It's not, he's not the same as the first team player, but he's just or almost as good. But with United, it's a very huge drop off. So for example, if we substitute Ericsson, who do we bring on? Like, do we bring on Fred? If you bring on Fred, then the drop off is like very massive, right? It's a huge drop off. If we substitute Dalo, who do we bring on? If we bring on Wan-Bissaka, it's a huge drop off. So that's why I say that there's no squad depth at all. Like on paper, when you read the names like Fred, Elanga, Van de Beek, it may look like yeah, these guys are they're international players, they're well established, and they're good players. But the thing is that they aren't really up to the mark that you want the player to be, right? If you want, suppose like an Elanga to be a good squad player, then Elanga should be able to come in and deliver, right? He should be able to deliver at the same level as like a Jadon Sancho or basically an Anthony. He should be able to deliver at that level or a level close to that. But with Elanga, again, it's a huge drop off. So then there's no squad depth. We can't say that there's any proper squad depth. So and added to the fact that also we're looking to sign free agents. We're linked to free agents. Like if we're actually signing free agents, then that tells you all there is to know, right? That the team is so deprived of good players, that we have to look to free agents to fill up positions, to get that actual squad depth going. But with this team right now, I think it will take 2 or 3 windows. But just like Ragnick said before, we're not that far off. it could take 2 or 3, but I think by maximum 4 to 5 windows, I think we're definitely going to be at a level where Man City are. Not right now, but 4 to 5 windows later, I think we could be at that level, provided that we actually keep going like we did this transfer window. So I think that's just my stand on that.
Yeah, so what did Rangnick say? Manchester United need to go with 10, 11 players. Oh, like that's a man that that's like literally the one thing I always like about Rangnick, and I will like him about it. As much as he probably wasn't the best manager to be an interim, but let's let's cut him some slack. Manchester United was in a mess last season. Like it's probably the worst I've ever seen United last season. No one was going our way. Not never mind games. Take the losses out of it. Just the club itself, the Glazers, Arnold's, the players were turning on each other, not just each other, but the manager, and then the fans were turning on everyone. No one was best friends, and Rangnick basically came out, told us what we wanted to hear, which we've like. It's been a very very long time since I've ever heard a manager come out, well, interim manager come out and tell us what this club is actually like and what they need to be improved. And it's basically like the Glazers, Arnold, the board, but whoever decides on who's good, who's getting the sack, whatever. It's basically like they said Rangnick was offering to help them, and they said to him at the end of last season, "We don't want your help. You can go to what was it, Austria or something like that, wherever he's managing." Do you reckon if we still had Ralph Rangnick, we'd have we would have had more signings in the summer, or do you reckon we would have same situation with the Casemiros? Do you reckon we would have had a better window, or basically we would have had the window we had?
No, I don't think we can get any worse. I think this window that we've had, obviously, in terms of the players that we brought in, it's fine. It's good that we got
Yeah,
these players in, but we can't ignore the fact that we've paid over the odds for every single player. So we've basically had a bad window when it comes to the financial aspect of things. Glazers pulling out money out of nowhere to sign Anthony and Casemiro basically towards the end. Like, this isn't a way a proper club, manages a proper, director of football manages a club. If with Ralph Ragnick there, I don't think that this kind of situation would have happened. Uh, Putting the whole thing on Ten Hag, I think it's very difficult, for Ten Hag to multitask and do all these things. Ralph Ragnick at least would have given him some sort of advice. And with Ralph
yeah,
Ragnick is that he has such a huge reputation in Europe, and he has such a wide, basically, pool of players that he can suggest to Ten Hag. Out of your Ajax or the Dutch league players, that basically Eric Ten Hag is linked with or basically knows. Ralph Ragnick could have suggested him, players um, that might have suited the system. But even if that wasn't the case, Ralph Ragnick could have definitely helped with basically improving the way we actually conducted our business in the transfer market. So that's a huge loss for me, and it's a huge shame on the club because they lied to the fans, right? They lied to the fans blatantly, saying that this is a manager coming in for the consultancy role, and he's here for a basically for a right now just to fill in as a caretaker manager, and then come in later on for the consultancy role. So at that point in time, people were buying into it because of the consultancy role, right? And we know that Ralph Ragnick is a builder of clubs. So that's why we were very happy that this is a good decision. But then, when the club makes these kinds of immediately, after the season ends, just sacks him. It's very disappointing, and the club still hasn't given us any valid reason. It's
yeah,
just just your mutual consent. So I think it's United are in a terrible mess. We can't. Eric Ten Hag can only cover up so much, right? We can still see all the faults that the team is making above Eric Ten Hag, And for me, if these kind of mistakes keep carrying on, then it's going to be difficult for Eric Ten Hag, to achieve success. So all we can do right now is hope that the Glazers, decide to sell, uh, because I don't think that there's going to be any change, or else, with the Glazers in charge.
No, this is this again. You kind of summed it up there. As long as the Glazers are around, we're not going to be victorious. We're not going to conquer Europe. We're not going to conquer the Premier England. But if the Glazers decide to have off and bring in Jim Ratcliffe, many fans are really seem to want in. He's probably like it's the richest man or third richest man in England, something ridiculous like that. Um, but I mean, I'm not expecting this January transfer window to be crazy. I'm not expecting us to sign crazy players. But do you think they should look into players that we can get there and then? Just like there's a right back I would be interested in Dumfries, but I think that'd be a sign that would, if it was going to happen, it'd happen in the summer. It wouldn't happen in January. But listen, there's a lot of improvements. But yeah, we'll move on anyways. I mean, I want to talk about Bellingham as well. Crazy news about that and lots more. So, geez, I'm not sure whether this is from Fabrizio Romano as well. Manchester United made the mistake of not going for a striker in January with players like Vlahovic and Alvarez available. United can't miss this January. I mean, again, back to Rangnick, didn't he recommend the likes of Alvarez, Vlahovic, Nunez, Diaz, a lot of other Osimhen, David? He named good strikers to the board, and they basically turned them down. So I don't know. We could have had squad depth up in the attacking system. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's. I know we had, the club are using this excuse. They don't want to sign players, kind of the likes of if the new man when the obviously we didn't know Ten Hag was going to be the manager then. When the new manager comes in, he mightn't want them. But I bet you, Rahul, if you went up to Eric Ten Hag and said, obviously before, you went to your team start now, do you want Diaz? He do you reckon he'd say yeah? I mean, he'd be like, how much is he? Where is he? What's he do? He would have definitely took one of those players, if not two.
Yeah, I mean, it's we can't say for certain because we don't really know. I don't know him personally. I don't know what
Yeah,
decisions he's gonna, what players he likes, and he hasn't, disclosed anything to the media. But I think there's a good probability that he would have picked at least two of those players for sure, because they are, up and coming talents. As you mentioned, Vlahovic, Alvarez, Osimhen, these are all, great players that I don't think any, manager would turn down in most cases. Uh, but then I think, see, that's the only difference between Ralph Ragnick right now and Eric Ten Hag is that Ralph Ragnick wasn't given any players. I think that's just it basically. Because with if Eric Ten Hag wasn't given a transfer window and not given any players, he would have been in the same situation that Ralph Ragnick is. If Eric Ten Hag hadn't gotten Lisandro Martinez and all these five players that he actually got in, we wouldn't have beaten Liverpool. We wouldn't have beaten Arsenal for sure. I don't think it would have happened. Not with the old set of players. So, that's very disappointing that people, with Ralph Ragnick, he came into a dead end job. He came into a job where he had basically no chance of winning. He came in thinking that the players will change, they'll adapt to his philosophy. That's what he came in to try and do. But obviously, after the Palace game, the 30 minutes that they gave him, and then after that, it just went back to, the old style of playing counter-attacking football. So I think it's I feel very sad for Ralph Ragnick. I think his reputation, it cost him his reputation as well. Obviously, in the fans, right? The fans don't blame him or don't have anything against him, but uh, obviously there is going to be, some kind of a drawback or something, basically, so it's going to cost Ralph Ragnick, some kind of credibility. You could say that, but I think, that's just the way United are, and I think that what happened with Ralph Ragnick opened our eyes, right? It opened our eyes to the situation that we're not gonna get fooled like we thought we would when Ralph Ragnick came in. We're not gonna trust these people anymore. Like it's it has to be the Glazers out, or there's no other way. I don't see any other way for us coming back. So I think that's one thing that improved with basically with Ralph Ragnick going.
Yeah, I mean, the only people that have the answer on why they let Rangnick go is the board, is the Glazers. But yeah, the Glazers basically kind of, do you want help, but then when someone offers to, they basically just put their hand in front of their face and say, "Talk to the hand," because I don't want to hear about it. They don't want to hear about it. They don't want help. They basically just, the only thing the Glazers cared about is, wake up every morning, go on to their bank account and see, oh, there's another 1,000, a million gone into my bank account. Lovely. I'm an extra €1,000,000 or 1,000, whatever you want to say, heavier. While you look behind you, and Manchester United is on fire. Not on fire with form, just all over the place. There's still problems at the club, as much as we're doing well at the moment. Ten Hag and the players know there's still problems at this club. But again, they can't really, let that bother them, because thing is, the Glazers and all that and the rest, the board pay their wages, so they can come out and say, "Oh, get blah 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 blah." They probably talk about it amongst themselves. Nobody knows. Um, but yeah, this club is in a bad mess. I mean, facilities need to be done. The training ground, the academy, the the women, everyone, everything, even the women's team, like, at least throw something into their stadium. Uh, Old Trafford itself, the whole everywhere needs done, but the Glazers don't care, and we also need signings. Not only does things around the club need to be sorted, so does the squad. But as I said, the Glazers don't care. They just care about how much money they have on their bank account every day of the week, so they don't care. Um, But yeah, we move on to right back. Eric Ten Hag wanted a right back. He thinks that he needs to create competition in that position. Pretty, yeah, what's very short. I'm going to say this. Definitely has to be improved, doesn't it? Rahul, short and sweet kind of thing. It has to be improved. I do think Wan-Bissaka is going to leave the club. If not in January, summer, he won't be here anytime. He won't be here for any longer, I think. What do you reckon? Do you reckon right back should be something Ten Hag should be looking at?
Yeah, definitely. Because if Dalot gets injured or suspended, then you don't have anyone. Like Ten Hag, basically in the previous game, he actually shifted Malaysia to right back and played
Yeah.
Luke Shaw left back. So that just tells you that there's no one at right back. He has to actually shift Malaysia, our first choice left back, to play right back. So that just tells you the confidence, right, that he has in Van Bissaka and Brandon Williams. I think we were looking at free agents as well in that position. So that again tells you the the problem that we have there. So it's definitely required. We definitely have to get right back along with a centre back, and obviously different other midfielder or striker, winger, basically a whole other team we need.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Eric Ten Hag has spoken about planning for the January window, but Manchester United XX, I think. I don't know what that's meant to be. Uh, Looking at the summer 2023, I don't. Whoever wrote this, honestly, like, must, like, we forget about it, because I don't know what I was meant to say. But there also could be options in England and Italy for Donny van de Beek. should he leave in January, says Romano. Do you think we should get rid of Van de Beek? Do you think it's best for him? Obviously, it's best for him, but as a United fan, do you think we should get rid of him?
No, I think it's definitely too soon. I think this season is the make or break season for me with Van de Beek because I think a lot of fans have lost patience. Van der Beek for me, he hasn't performed. He hasn't done it. Like we can't protect him anymore, right? We can't protect a player. Uh, there's an extent to which we can actually protect him, but then beyond that, we can't, actually shield him from criticism. So with Van der Beek, I think this is a make or break season. He has to show us something. Like he has to show us something that gives us, some confidence that he can perform better maybe next season. But then with this season, I think the way it's going, it doesn't look promising. But hopefully, if things change, but I think we have to give him the whole season. We can't sell him in January, and I don't think Eric Ten Hag would do that. Either way, I think he likes Van de Beek, but I just don't think he completely trusts Van de Beek in the system as of now. He's still, I think, trying to adapt Van de Beek to the system. Uh, then let's just hope that Van der Beek can improve and show us something this season. But he definitely deserves the entirety of this season. And then in the summer we can make a call then, depending on how he performs this season.
Yeah, I think literally everyone at this club, except for the new signings, well, if you want to include them, you can. It's kind of everyone's last chance, isn't it? Like everyone, even, I mean, will we see the hype any longer? I mean, I do think it's starting to get to that stage where we should look for a goalie that can compete with him, not Dubravka. I mean, I think him and Dubravka are probably around the same age, so it makes no sense there. But a lot of talk going around about Jude Bellingham. Dortmund value him at around 150 million euros, which that comes to 131.6 million pounds. And there's no release clause valued. Manchester United had watched Bellingham play 46 times at various levels since the age of 12, and the message that kept coming back was that he was a player to be signed immediately. Brian Robson says, we thought we had him, Bellingham, after his tour of Carrington, and he would have been a great signing for us, but he definitely has it in him to become a great player for England. Do you think Bellingham is a player we should be going for?
I think he's a good player, definitely a player that we should go for. But then the price tag is ridiculous, 150 million. Like and right now Bellingham is going to play the World Cup. So if he performs well in the World Cup, you can expect that price tag to be 200 million. And if he performs well throughout the whole of the season, by the end of the season, you could expect him to probably be around like 200 to 250 million, even more, right? Depends on how he performs well. But right now they're quoting the base price tag at 150 million. So I think that's absolutely ridiculous. I don't blame Bellingham, but that's just the way football is, right? With money, with the inflation. Um, so it's very sad to see that 150 million is being quoted. That's unfair on Bellingham, and there is no release clause. In Bellingham's case, there's no release clause like there was with Haaland. Uh, so he is sort of stuck. I don't think I would definitely go for him, but not at that price tag. I think maybe you could stretch to 100 million, but that's about it, right? I think if our budget is like 400 to 500 million, which I don't think it will be, then maybe you could think of signing Bellingham. But then even then, it's not a good signing because you can't be spending that amount of money, right? There's so many risks attached to it, not just the financial risk, the price tag that comes with the player. So I like the player, but then you have to sort out the financial side.
I think I'd love Bellingham at United, but I think with other positions that have to be improved, I think we should leave him at the side. I wouldn't say he's a main target. I doubt he's a main target for obviously. Like I think City, Liverpool, all the top clubs in England are really interested in him. Then the only team that could probably afford him is Man City. Because let's be honest, they always pay the big bucks as much as it pisses us all off. So I listen. I'd love him, but I just think you kind of summed it up there yourself, Rahul. 150 million euros and then 131 million pounds. He's not worth it. He's good. He is a good player. I mean, he's 20 something like that. He's very young anyway. Like he's not. It's not like he's at that age where he's won a few. I know he's won. The few trophies in Germany with Dortmund, and I don't think he's won anything with England. So I mean, is he worth that, or is that just Dortmund coming out giving us that price tag? So teams like United and all the top clubs say, well, he's worth that much. Let's stay away from him. Or do you reckon that he actually is worth that? Because a lot of clubs know how to, players are interested in players. I'm going to go for him. Next of all, before you know it, the price tag goes up by about 100 million and he's gone. Do you reckon that's what it is? Put the price tag up so teams don't go near us?
No, I think that's a clever strategy that I think Dortmund are trying to, use. I think 150 million probably is a price tag that they put. But United, I think they probably try. I think Dortmund probably know realistically that no one's going to pay that money. Only big clubs like maybe a PSG, a Man City, someone like that can pay that money. But if someone like a United were to come in, then Dortmund know that United would try to negotiate that down to maybe like 120 million. So I think that's why they've set that price tag for 150 million euros. Uh, that's Dortmund are a selling club, right? They sold Sancho for I think close to 80 million, right? 80 million euros. This obviously Haaland had a release clause, but if not for the release clause, we know Dortmund would have quoted probably close to 150 million for Haaland as well. Uh, but then that's just the way football is nowadays, right? Players, the money is there in football, the money is there in Europe, and people just they want to make money, right? The agents want to make money, so that's just it. But coming to your point, he's definitely not worth 150 million euros. For me, I think a realistic price tag would be 100 million euros at a stretch. At the max, I would go for 100 million euros, but try and negotiate within 100 million euros, right? So I think that's what the price tag should be. It's not the player's fault. It
Yeah.
is, Dortmund being a little clever, you could say.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Like it's just, I just think I mean, all right, we 100 million. Like I just checked his age there. He's only 19. Like he's not 20. He's not near his 20s. But still, we're like if first of all, Manchester United go for that money when we need a goalkeeper. We need probably one or two centre backs the most. Another left back would be nice. Midfield needs to be improved. A right winger should be something they should look at. Another one, a left-footed right winger, and a striker or two, and squad depth. That's what we need. Still, if they do go out and throw the big bucks in, 150 million euros, that'd be just crazy. That'd be crazy. If they are going to pay that, you'd expect Ten Hag to get about. He'd probably need at least 5 million. If sorry, not 5 million, 500 million. If the Glazers really want, not the Glazers, no one likes them. If Ten Hag really wants it, if you had Ratcliffe, I don't know, but if you had crazy owners with loads of money, you'd be like, yeah, we're gonna get him. I think Liverpool are very, very desperate for a midfielder. I think City have enough. I think they should let other teams compete. Give other teams a chance. But yeah, I mean, if you do go from, would you be happy with the deal, or would you be a bit like, why?
No, I wouldn't be happy considering if we actually go and pay 150 million euros. But I wouldn't be surprised if we actually do it because we know how the Glazers are, right? They
Yeah,
want their Galactico signings. They want those big signings to actually basically quiet down the fans, to get the fans in their pocket, basically, buying out the fans. So that's what the Glazers would probably try to do. And if they see Bellingham as a tool to basically buy them more time, then they probably will go and make that signing. Probably wouldn't, listen to Ten Hag. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't. I don't have anything. I don't have any problem with Bellingham. He's a very good player. I would love him at United, but within that, 100 million euro mark, and I think even that is a stretch. I think even 100 million euros is a stretch, for a 19-year-old player. He may be good, promising, but he's still 19, right? Can't be paying that amount of money. Like, um,
I just
80,
think it's crazy,
yeah,
personally.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Like he's he's only a year older than me and is worth 150 mil. Like, come on, that's crazy, Rahul. If you ask me, like, come on. Then when he does get to when he does eventually get to his prime, you know, it's not just prime, but 23, 25, and he's still hitting the big bucks because he won't be at Dortmund for the rest of his career. If you look at Haaland, he like, what was it, Salzburg, was it he played for, and then went to Dortmund, and then he's this big player now for Man City. Bellingham played for Birmingham, went to Dortmund, and he's going to move on into some crazy team. I hope he comes to United, but not for 150 million. I wouldn't back that deal no matter what. If it's even if Ten Hag says, "I want that player," I'd be just like, why? Why? There literally is better out there. Go for the young. Go for the young. A player that you did want, go for the young. Don't spend 150 million on Bellingham. That's just my opinion. But I wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. But the Glazers would want to give Ten Hag a good chunk of the money, and they don't want to give money out, so I wouldn't expect it. Even if Ten Hag wanted him, beg for him, the Glazers still have to give him that money, and will they? God knows how much you get given to spend in the January window. Will you get 150 million, 200 million? I hope he gets at least 250 if they really want to sign players there, and then if he wants to if the Glazers back him and he wants to sign players. But I do think a right back, a centre back, and a striker is something we should look at. And then as move to the midfield situation then in the summer. Because if we really want to sign the young, it's a summer signing that. It's not a January signing, mid-season thing. No, but a right back, a defender, and a striker is what we should look at in January. That's my opinion. I'm not sure whether you think less or you maybe agree on that. But God knows what will happen.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, in the January window, for me, for sure, like as I was saying before, I would definitely go for a centre back. First thing, right? Because we have to start from the back, right? We have to build a foundation. So we have to go for a centre back and a right back. Then after that, but then at the end of the day, in the January transfer window in particular, things don't work out like that. Like it all depends on the opportunity, right? If you get a good opportunity, then you have to go for it. So that opportunity could be a winger, a striker, a goalkeeper, doesn't matter. So at the end of the day, it's the opportunity that we have to go for if it presents itself to us. So um, ideally, we would like to go for a centre back and a right back first, but then let's see what happens. I just hope that Ten Hag gets the player he wants. Right, that's it.
Yeah. And Rahul, I think that brings the show to an end. Very good show as well. I think. I feel like as usual with you, Rahul, you some decent points. But again, there's obviously people watching. There's not much to do this week, but we still have another few days of content. So tomorrow, Rahul, I think you remember we did this. Remember we did the A to Z team builder, where I spent the wheel, I landed on say C, and then you picked I don't know, a player with. Do you remember that? Do you remember that show? Yeah.
Yeah. We made a team, right?
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah.
Yeah, you could use first names and second names. So that'd be tomorrow actually. So that'd be an interesting one. Rahul, if you're available, you're more than welcome to come on. And then Friday, we have a United Way quiz. Now, Rahul, you were on for the last quiz, weren't you? And Tom just about beat Leo by a point. That was nerve. I think me and you were. But a quiz on Friday. We're gonna be back with an Instagram live on Saturday, and then Rahul back again. Another show we did together. Well, it's not a show; it's more of a little podcast. But Twitter Space on Sunday. So yeah, not much to do, but it's exciting, isn't it? It takes our minds off Manchester United. Well, it's not. It's not. No, I wouldn't say it's really. If we are playing crap, you'd be like, thank God, but we're not. So, but we're back next Sunday playing football. We're back next Sunday, so next week could be even better. So back next Sunday. So football won't be Manchester United won't be gone for long. So yeah, Rahul, thanks for joining me. Obviously next time we come on, all this background will be changed. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Thanks everybody for watching, and follow all our socials, and we'll speak to you all in the next one. Have a good one.